Hi everyone, this is Liz from Creative Life of Liz, and I'm here to share the middle of, I guess we'll call it the spring quarter of 2025. This is months April, May, and June. This is in my reading journal or book bujo. This is an Artist Loft dot grid. And with that, I'm gonna jump right in. There is a previous section to this if you haven't seen it. I'll try to remember to link it in the cards. Otherwise, it'll be down below in the playlist at the end, something like that. But yeah, so you can check out all of that out if you are interested. So with that, I'm going to jump ahead to April. So this is my April spread for my reading journal, and this is probably the one I am most proud of. So in March, we flew KLM to go to and from Norway, and these are the little envelopes they give you with salt and pepper in them. So I used a couple of those and just put in the little April 2025 note here. And then I use this other one that I taped in here. And if I open it up, I get to my priority reads for the month, which were just like hidden inside this little envelope. So this is probably the spread I'm most proud of, just because I really used some of the ephemera that I like to collect when I am traveling. And I think it turned out really cute. For the month, I did participate in Magical Readathon in the spring equinox. That one has, I think it's 17, 14, however many challenges are here in front of me. I always try to do all of them during April, if at all possible, so that I have flexibility during the fall equinox to participate however much or as little as I am able to. I was able to succeed, so I had a lot of flexibility come fall. So with that, we then started out with my summary of all the books that I have read. I do have a spreadsheet that I keep track of some additional details as well, but I like to have the paper format. If you're curious about how all these are formatted, that is in my first video that describes everything going on in this planner. So I'm just gonna flip through this part. I had some good reads and some meh reads, I think we'll call it, during this part of the month. I had the 52 Book Club April Mini Challenge, which just had 2 prompts. So I just used part of a page there for that. Again, it's a lot of meh reads in here, but a couple of pretty good ones as well. And then this is my last page of reads. I did have this page left over, so I did kind of like a quick sketchy quote that I put in here just to fill the page. And then I got to my reading stats, which is in the same format as every month, as I'm sure you can see from previous, the previous section when I flipped through January through March. In April, I read 30 books for 9,000 pages. I was doing 30 and 30, so that worked out pretty well. I had 0 5-star reads, which was a little frustrating, but it is what it is. I had about half and half on new and known authors, and I think it was about 45% own voices, which is roughly where I would like to be. I would like this to be about half and half, so I think that was overall pretty good. Read a decent number of new releases and a few more backlist kinds of books. And I had a decent spread across a few different genres, so I didn't get too sick of anything. When I look at my favorite read, it was Lunar Boy. I just thought it was really beautiful, both the story and the illustrations. And I just thought that it was a really good story to read, and I definitely recommend that one. Other recommendations are Karaoke Queen, My Best Friend's Honeymoon, Touch in Excess, and A Gentleman's Gentleman. So overall, my favorite reads of the month, quite diverse. All 5 of these actually are own voices books, so definitely quite a diverse group here, and definitely things that I really enjoyed reading. Moving into May, we can see I did kind of this like full coverage with this wide washi, and I do like how it turned out. It was annoying to make because I had to cut out the letters, but it did turn out really cute. I didn't put in any of my priority reads because I covered the whole thing with washi, but that's honestly fine. I can manage. I keep track of those things in like a Trello, so I don't strictly need any of the layouts, even if it's helpful to have in here anyway. Moving on to the things I read, a lot of meh books, so that was not super fun. Here at the beginning of the month, 5 Families was pretty good, but the rest pretty meh. A 3-star for me is something that I enjoy reading in the moment, but definitely not memorable. So I had a lot of those in this chunk of time. And then I had a few books that I was more into. I did the 52 Book Club May Mini, which just had a couple of items on here. So I did do that. You will see as the year goes on, I kind of fell off doing a lot of the 52 Book Club minis, but I did really well with them in the first half of the year. And then I had a couple more books that I read. And then final book support group. I think this is the only round I participated in this year, just because it's the only one that worked out with my schedule. But I did a pretty good job and did get a blackout on the board. And then some more meh reads over here. On my May wrap up and reading stats, I read 22 books for 8,000 pages. I did have a 5-star, so that was super exciting. I even had 2, which was mind-boggling. About 2/3 new authors, about 2/3 own voices. So overall, pretty good split there. Definitely what I like. You'll see a lot of ebooks. I had Kindle Unlimited at the time, so you can see why I have a lot of ebooks and also a lot of new releases. Again, I had Kindle Unlimited, and also why I had a lot of romances. Again, I had Kindle Unlimited. Subgenres was a pretty good mix. For my favorite reads of the month, Insectopolis was my favorite book. It was a graphic novel looking at a insect museum exhibit from the perspective of insects. I thought it was super beautiful, super interesting, and I thought it was really fun. I also liked Cat Plus Gamer Volume 1, 5 Families, The Potency of Ungovernable something. There's another word that goes in that name. But I like that whole series. I think that they're all really good. So definitely recommend that entire series by Malka Older. I don't even know. Impulses. The Potency of Ungovernable Impulses. I think they're really good. They're like a Sherlock Holmes, Watson-esque retelling, except they're women, it's queer, and it's set on the rings of Jupiter, around Jupiter, something like that. Super good series. And then Forest Euphoria. I thought that was also really good. And then the last month that I'm going to cover in this video was my June setup. I really like the letters and how they turned out here. So that was probably my favorite part of this particular setup. I thought that was really good. I had a couple of priority reads, which were both arcs. And then the big thing of June is the Amazing Readathon. That always takes up a lot of time and a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun. So I was on the Lore Keepers, and these were my starting power-ups. I did not use all of them. It just is what it is. I was fulfilling prompts, essentially. I listed the bonuses, and then I just went through the cities as I went and made note of things we won, points I collected, all of that kind of stuff. None of this is secret anymore, since obviously this is long over. But this is the first page of my tracking for this. And then I started tracking the books that I was reading. Overall, it was a pretty good reading month, which was honestly a little surprising because sometimes when I read a lot, I end up with a lot of mediocre books because I read more novellas and shorter things that are maybe less emotionally impactful. But overall, it was pretty good reading month. Moving over here, we had Face Off weekend. So I put the map here and some rules. And then on the flip side, this is what I did during Face Off weekend. And then my notes about how we finished. This is the second page of tracking the Amazing Readathon and the places that we were visiting here. And then some more books that I read over here. And then even more books that I read, even more books that I read. I told you I read quite a bit during the month. Even more books that I read. This page was a little bit more mediocre. And then this was the end of the Amazing Readathon. The Lore Keepers did end up winning. So that was super satisfying. I ended up contributing almost 22,000 points. So I think that was overall pretty successful, plus some bonus things as we went along. And then here's the last few books that I read for the month. And another quote, because I had an empty page. And then my wrap up and reading stats. I read 41 books, 12,000 and some pages. I read a book a day plus, as you might expect, with 41 books. A little over half were new authors, about 2/3 were own voices, so this was kind of the split that I wanted. Not too surprising, I do especially prioritize LGBTQIA+ reads during June and during Amazing Readathon, but even so, it was pretty good own voices month. Pretty good mix of things. I did have Kindle Unlimited, so a lot of ebooks for sure. And a lot of new releases, again, for the same reason. I read a lot of romance because they tend to go fast, so that was a factor. And then I stuck in my subgenres. I had quite a mix for the month, so I did have to kind of squeeze in some things that overlapped over here. Looking at my favorite reads, Gasians was my favorite read. It was super impactful. I thought the illustrations were beautiful. I just thought it was a really good story. Definitely recommend that one. I also liked Cat Plus Gamer. I think I read just volume 2, but maybe also volume 3 during this month. Make the Play. A Man and His Cat, and Once Smitten, Twice Shy. I thought those were also really good. And with that, I would move into July. So that's all I have for today. As always, please like and subscribe below if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. It helps me out. Let me know your favorite thing that you saw me read during these months, or your favorite thing that you read in April, May, and June. Or if you have nothing that you want to leave me like an envelope emoji for that April spread, because I really like how it turned out. And I would just love to hear from you in the comments. And then follow me on Instagram and Blue Sky at Creative Life of Liz. You'll see in progress and finished spreads in my planners, bits and pieces of my life, what I'm reading, all that good stuff. And until next time, bye.